Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Morning. Did I say good morning? Good morning. Today's the day we get new internet. And I know it was dumb at the top to start with, right? But it just got dumber and dumber and dumber. I know. Shortest day in history. Uh, Hello, JCT, Kevin, Junkyard. Good morning, everybody. How are you all today? Did you have a good Tuesday? Hmm. They did. I know, me too. I tried to get video of Trestle Park yesterday or Monday, and my phone wouldn't take it. Um, then I tried yesterday, and it still wouldn't do it. And I got home, started looking. Um, Somehow the camera was on Do Not Disturb, so I got that off and Do Not Disturb. Now uh, it's cameraing again, so it's working. Great, take one for the team. So, anyways, I will probably video that today, maybe after the cable guy gets here, or the internet guy gets here, if you want to call him, and leaves. I did go to a city council meeting yesterday or Monday night. Had a bunch of them bleeding hearts in there screaming about deportation. You know, crying that the city police didn't help the illegal aliens, and so after about I don't know 5 or 6 of them, they were all done talking about it. I decided it was my turn, so I got up and told them that I am all for legal immigration because this country is founded on immigration. I'm not for illegal immigration. And I proceeded to tell them how many, billions and billions of dollars illegal aliens cost Americans every year. And I got my 3 minutes. I sat down. They went into a closed door session to talk about buying some property. And during that time, I had a bunch of them cackling hens come up to me and tell me all about illegal immigration and I shouldn't call them aliens because they're humans. I said Bill Clinton called them aliens, Barack Obama called them aliens, George Bush, Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter, Nixon, Joe Biden, they all call them illegal aliens. But now you say them just because Barack Obama come out and said they're undocumented citizens, it doesn't make it true. So yeah. So then I had one. She sit there screaming and hollering at me. I said, "Hey, could you say it a little louder because I can't hear you?" You know. There was a couple of cops in there. I was waiting for one to hit me because I was going to jump up, deck that bitch right there in the ground, and then have her arrested. So I got a couple of them that got a little tempered on them. I must be the only Republican that was in the audience at the time. You're right. Illegal is a key word. They don't. They're all human. They all belong here. No, they don't belong here. I give them an example. I said, hey, if one of them broke into your house and was living in your house, does that make him? Does that give him the right to live there? No, he's there illegally. Cops are cowards. You're right. Well, that might have been the case, but them heifers would have had to done it, together. So I had one old lady come up to me and she said, "I work for the International." I said, "Yeah." "And we adopted a kid from Guadalupe." I said, "Okay." "And he's a natural citizen." I said, "That's great. I'm all for legal immigration. I just don't understand why everybody's against or everybody's for millions of people coming through the country that nobody knows who they are. That's what immigration's about. And besides, legal immigration, is 1 million per year. They allow 1 million per year of naturalized citizens. Then there's special cases, where uh, um, seeking asylum and all the other stuff, but not 23 million in 4 years. Well, they weren't my sisters, and I'm glad you kept them down there because I don't think I could have handled that herd. So, yeah, ain't gonna be living. You're right. Right. If he's in my house, he ain't gonna be living. But I give them an analogy, and they didn't like that. They didn't like to hear that. It's the same. If you break into somebody's house and you start living there, it doesn't mean you live there. Some of these liberal governments will say, "Oh, well, they're squatting, so they have every right there." No, they don't. It's against the law for you to do anything to them because they have the right to live there. No, they don't. ICE was here yesterday. They were rounding up a bunch of them. They rounded up a woman and three kids. The youngest kid was 6 months old, and they took them to the detention center. And they said it was a little kid. Well, excuse me, we can keep the kid here if you'd like. You know, separate it from its mother. I mean, they don't mind. The cops don't mind separating family from one another when they arrest you. So what's the difference? Right. I know dead is not dead. It's unalive now. Yeah. Yeah. And the new "I can't breathe" is "I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe." Let me post a link into this. here, copy. Around right there is the city council meeting. And if you go to right, 53 minutes and 10 seconds, that's where I get up and talk. But you can watch all the other ones talking before that. And then like at a minute or an hour and 12 minutes or so, you got a city council member. He'll be the guy in the blue all the way over to the right hand side. He's talking about how the way things are going now, if he was driving his car, and this guy's gay, he's got a husband, if he was driving his car and somebody turned on lights behind him and he didn't know if it was a cop or not, he would drive to the nearest police station. And I thought to myself, that's the fastest way to get your ass arrested. Right after they pitch you and pull you out of the car, kicking and screaming. So, but you can watch that right there. That's the city government. They pulled a couple of them from, I don't know how many they got yesterday. But, according to all these people, those people are being kidnapped because they're legal citizens. Now, what started all this on June 14th or something like that, they arrested two in a Dollar Tree parking lot. They were brothers, business owners even in this city. One owns a business and the other one works for him. And they're upstanding community, certain members of the community. Well, they got arrested. One of them come home the other day after posting $8,000. And I said, what was the $8,000 for? Well, he had to give a lawyer. They said, well, he had, he's a legal citizen. He's got all the documentation. He's got a license and everything else. I said, if he is a legal citizen and has all the documentation, as soon as they have looked at his license and run it through the DMV and found out that, his records were true, he'd have never been kept. He was kept for 15 days or 18 days or something like that before they let him go. They posted an $8,000 bond so he'd show up for his deportation hearing. No, the majority of them were all white that was screaming. Yeah. I had one sitting next to me, and she was literally in tears, crying. I looked at her and said, "For real, give me a break." Oh no, the brothers they were Mexicans. They'd been here since they were 13 and 14 years old. They come here to America since they were 13 and 14 years old. They're 38 and 39 or something right now. And they're still not citizens? My ass. Because you know why they're not citizens? Because they didn't follow up on it. And they probably did. Anyways, I asked, I said, well, whose social security number are they using? Well, they got one. I said, if you're an illegal citizen here, an illegal alien, and you're working and you're getting a check, How are you getting a payroll check without a social security number? Well, they got social security numbers. I said, yeah, they've been using them 33 and 34,000 times, the same number. I said, same way with the contact info, same phone number. Who hasn't mentioned Native Americans? There's who hates you. You're right. Your check would be bigger. No, I don't. If you're here legally, I don't. I don't care. If you're not here legally, I do care. Native Americans doesn't have anything to do with it. You're here legally. If you're born in this country, you're here legally. So, and then they were talking about, well, they're just picking on Mexicans. They're only deporting Mexicans. I said, you're wrong. I said, they're deporting Irish. They're deporting people from France. They're deporting people from Poland. They're deporting people from every country that has come here illegally. No, they're not. Well, this is Adrian, and they're only deporting Mexicans. I said, because probably that's the only ones that are here. I said, Ireland has 10 to 15,000 illegal aliens in the United States right now that they know of. And last year, in the last few months, they have deported 769 of them. Well, that may not sound like a lot of people, but that's like 10% of the ones that they know are in here. So, but aren't you Inuit or something like that from Alaska? So that would make you indigenous or whatever. Yeah. I don't know the correct term. But no, and then they were talking about, it's only Mexican people that they're displacing here. And once again, I said, check the facts. They are anybody that's here illegally, and it's a crime to be here illegally, they're deported. I said, well, what about these two people they got on the 14th? Evidently, they committed some crimes. No, no, they are upstanding citizens. Oh, that's cool. Mm, you know, But that's the gist of her. That's where that went Monday night. Probably did. I gotta give me a cup of coffee. I did. Um, I just put a pan in the oven and turned it on. I got to make some homemade, scratch-made biscuits. So I like putting them in a cast iron or a steel frying pan. I like heating that up, and then when I pull it out, I'll give it a quick coat of Pam or spray, and I'll drop the biscuits in there, put them back in the oven, and they get a nice little crust on the bottom, and they cook up nice. Last night we had fried boneless, skinless chicken thighs, uh, flour coated and then fried, aspergas, and many, them small boiled potatoes, the multicolored ones, the red and the blue and or the purple and the yellow. That's what we had for dinner last night. You had ribeye Sunday night. We had that New York strip on Friday, and then we had chuck steak on Saturday. Sunday night we had chicken fajita tacos. Oh, and we had Kathy made. She makes usually sliced cucumbers um, with onion, and she'll put apple cider vinegar and mayonnaise together as a dressing, and she'll make that. She went to get an onion and said, "Well, we're out of onions." I said, "Yeah, I know. I sliced it the other day." She said, "Well, I didn't know we even have onions." I'm sorry. So we just had cucumbers with no onions. Homemade onions, homemade tomatoes and peppers. Yeah. My onions did not grow with a dam. We're gonna go to Monahan's today. Today's the day of their sale, but we'll go to Monahan's today. Come on, get up here, pumpkin, and see if they have any more of those pork sausages. And if they do, that's probably what we're gonna have for dinner tonight. Sausage and eggs. Come on, get up here. Come on. Oh, that's a pretty girl. Come on, get on. That's a good. Yeah, that's a good girl. Shots, everybody, shots. Shots, everybody, shots. Shots, everybody, shots. Shots, everybody, shots. Hold on, pumpkin. Hold on. Come on. Quit. Come on, get up here. Come on. You're the one that did it. It's Water Glass Wednesday. Better shut the alarm off because, yeah. Right, not just for breakfast anymore. Right. No, that's what I will probably have because I got 3 dozen eggs. I've had them for a couple of weeks, so I might want to start using some of them. I gotta make up some burritos probably for Saturday morning. I wanna stop at the farmer's market and sell some burritos, and then go to an auction in Morenci. So that's about the gist of that. Kathy and I, we have an appointment at 10 o'clock today, or tomorrow. So we gotta go to that tomorrow. I gotta cancel my doctor's appointment for tomorrow because it's at the same time. So, I know. So how's that make it a 20-pound tank? All right. Well, we got a place over here that fills them for so much a tank. And I didn't realize that, and I took a bunch of half-empty tanks up there to have filled. And I said, well, a lot of these were half full. I said, that doesn't make a difference. It don't matter if it's when we hook onto it, if it takes 1 pound, we're still charging me that. I got like 15 tanks out back. Somebody was wanting to sell them, sell some tanks. And they said, well, how much can I get for them? They should be worth $30 or $40, shouldn't they? You can buy a brand new one for $40. I said, if it's rusty and it's all dirty and nasty and not clean, $7 to $10. If it's clean and it's in date and it's got a thread cap on it, 10 to $15 to $20. Oh, I don't know. I think I'm pretty much an expert at it because, like I said, I got 15 of them. I bought them all. I bought 9 of them at an auction one time that we were doing selling hot dogs at, and Kathy got upset with me because I bought all 9 of them, and I give I think $85 or something like that for them all. Yeah, they'll re-inspect them. So, anyways, I think I give $85 for them. And she says, "Are you kidding me for 9 propane tanks?" I said, "Just junk ones are, ones that don't look good are $10 a piece." I said, there's 9 of them here, and 7 of them are full completely. So you tell me if I didn't do a good job. Yeah, I got the tanks plus propane. Oh. Well, mine getting too old, I just have them re-inspected when I take them to Murray's or the Walmart. Walmart has here, they have a um, automatic tank. They don't. Nobody comes out no more to exchange tanks. You go there with an empty tank, and you put it in a slot, and put your credit card in there, and they give you another tank, and it charges you respectively. You know, if it's a tank, if you leave a tank, once you put your credit card in there, it shuts the door so you can't get the tank back out, and then it opens another door and gives you a tank. But if you just put your credit card in there and get a tank, um, it charges you for the whole tank. $99. Good morning, Dan. I've had a couple of 100-pound tanks. They're nice if you need them, but they're kind of awkward. Do a two-wheeler? Yeah. I have probably 20 1-pounders. I have 130, 15, 20-pounders, and then I have one um, 5-pounder, I think it is. It's either a 5 or a 7, something like that. Cute little bugger. It's only about this big. I usually use that when I'm running my Blackstone griddle. It makes it nice to have that many because, if you're doing something and it requires a lot of gas, um, it's nice to have it on hand. You don't have to run to the store every 2 or 3 days or whatever, uh, gas company, and have them filled. When I first started it, I only had one propane tank, and then I kept having to run to the propane dealer to get it filled after every event or whatever. So you're cutting towards this propane, yeah. Somewhere out in my garage, I have a propane um, valve for cutting torches. It, and by all accounts, I think it's actually brand new. Well, this time you have a president that's actually going to pay, you know, with aid instead of giving it to the illegal aliens and having them drain it. Look at that pretty girl. Yes, it is. They're pretty. Come on. Come on. Yeah, I know. I know. Oh, you're a pretty kitty. Yes, sir. You're a pretty kitty. Ain't much use for pretty kitties, but you're one. I think um, I think after we get this housing issue resolved, I think one of the next things we're going to get is a natural gas generator, just in case. Oh, what a pretty kitty. Yes. Yeah. Should hit spam when the time comes. No. We don't. We don't get very many ice storms up here. We've had a few, but not a lot. We've had it where we've had like 2 or 3 inches of ice on the ground. That we got the ice storm so bad, but I got uh, I got a 6,000 watt generator out there in the garage. Um, that's all I got now. Oh, I got an 1,800 watt out in the shed. I don't think that one works too good. Does that feel good, Pumpkin? Oh, yeah. So if you just keep on doing that, Papa, that feels really good. Sitting there hitting me with her tail. I give. Yeah, now that you're ready for it, you probably never have one again. But it's it's nice to have it and not need it, and need it and not have it. Huh. And diabetic pumpkin. Yeah. Exactly. Right. Right, guys. Guys. Um, I actually want to look into putting an electric start on the generator that I have. I can't full start it no more. Are you having fun? Are you in all your glory? She said, I'm loving it. You're like McDonald's. You're loving it, huh? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. All I'm trying to do is add electric start to it. Either that or drill a hole through the um, recoil start to the case, pull all that out, and just drill a hole there, and then so I can put a socket on it with an impact wrench. Boom. I see people are doing that nowadays instead of putting electric starts on stuff. You built a cave from the last hurricane, so you built a cave. Hmm. I know that works good now. Better, Joe's right. Yeah, just put the socket on there and put it on. Yeah, it wasn't so good a few years ago, right? Yeah. Well, a few years ago, the most you could get was like a 9 or a 12 amp, a 12-volt battery powered drill. Now you can get 20s and 40s and stuff like that. But new air conditioner I got. I didn't realize it, but it's also a heater. Oh, what the hell? Last night I was using the remote on it and I didn't have the lights on, so I'm sitting there using the remote and I hit the wrong button. Next thing I know, it quit blowing out cold air and it started blowing out hot air. I'm talking real hot air. Now, what the hell's going on here? And what I did is I set the temperature. It was at 69. I set the temperature to 80, and it started blowing out hot air. Hard boiled. That's right. There you go. Well, that's one thing I'm looking into. I wanna put solar around the house because I got an immense amount of roof on the house and then on the garage. But I gotta get the house and the garage re-roofed first before I put solar on it. Huh. You're a defensive lineman. Well, all you gotta do is turn them so they're facing south. I have the gable roof on the barn on the top of the house, which faces south and north. And then I have the garage roof, which you can point them all towards the south. Or she's just having her good old time sleeping here. They're right funkin'. Yeah, yeah. You getting up now? Easy. You don't have to bury your claws in. I know, because I'm a dick. Yeah. Well, they're just cleaning up the streets. Yeah, you could sell power back to the grid. I just would like enough power to power everything we got here and maybe sell $25 worth back to the grid every month. I'd be happy. Yeah, it comes off your bill. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you lived. I'm glad you lived your dream or whatever what you planned on doing. About 7 people so far. Yeah. I don't know how many we've lost. We've lost a bunch. I don't know. Kevin can answer that. What, 16 cents a kilowatt? Ours is 21. It's 21 and a half, and then it's doubled between 2 and 7. Yeah. All right, everybody. Y'all have a great day. God bless. Take care. Prayers and peace. I will see you tomorrow morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard. If you're so inclined to join me. Somebody crashed the city hall. Yeah. They were drunk. Take care, everybody, and have a great day.